right, good evening, everyone. We'll get started with the West Fargo Special Assessment Committee meeting. We'll start with the agenda. We've got call to order. We'll do a roll call for all committee members.
Yep, I'm Jim Brownlee, I'm here.
Jim Brownlee, and then Elliot, has he jumped on yet? Okay. We'll wait a minute or two here for Elliot to jump on. He's currently serving overseas and has been jumping on these calls from a different time zone, so we'll give him a couple minutes. We used to have a quorum with two, correct? Yeah.
5:35 probably, and then.
I think we can move along now.
Yeah, because
What do
we're
you, yeah, okay.
not doing any votes yet.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, we'll keep going. I am Eddie Shealy, Chair of the committee. So we have both Jim and I here. We have 2 out of 3, so we do have a quorum today. So look at approval of last meeting's minutes from June 24th, 2025.
I reviewed them online and I moved to approve them.
All right. I'd like to get a motion to approve, but we just have 2 of us, and you made the motion. With no objections, motion approved. Brief overview of the process. We'll have Katie Schmidt give a brief overview of tonight.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome. Tonight, the Special Assessment Commission is considering the assessment list for improvement districts 1337, 1339, 2270, and 2271. This slide shows you the process as to how the improvement districts were created and how we've got to where we are tonight. The Special Assessment Commission initially met on June 24, following a directive from the City Commission to determine the allocation of special assessments for the improvement districts. During that meeting, the Special Assessment Commission approved the assessment lists and they were published in the paper. In determining the amount of special assessments, city staff separately performed a benefits assessment for each of the properties in the improvement districts to ensure the amount of the special assessments did not exceed the benefits. Next, you will have the opportunity to present your objections to the assessment lists. The Special Assessment Commission will consider all objections and may increase or decrease a particular special assessment, but overall, all special assessments in an improvement district must equal the overall amount of special assessments that were directed by the City Commission. The purpose of tonight will be for the Special Assessment Commission to certify the assessment list and then send it to the City Auditor. The City Commission will also hold a public hearing on the assessment list. If you continue to have objections on the amount of the special assessments following tonight's meeting, you must file a written appeal with the city prior to the City Commission's meeting in order for your objection to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to just maybe reiterate that a little bit. So our job as a committee is to we get the boundary of where the assessment is going to be, and the city works on making sure it's fair and equitable for all involved. And then we will hear any objections to that. We cannot change the dollar amount of that assessment district, but we can change the allocation within that district. So we're here today to hear any thoughts and questions you may have. So at this time, we'll open it up for questions. Should we go district by district or open them up to all?
I'd probably start with 1330.
Yeah, let's start with District 1337. And if you could please come and state your name, your address, and then verify the improvement district that you'd like to talk about.
was hoping to, I'm sorry. Per the agenda up there, it said my name is Marlon Russell Lean. The address in question is actually parcel number 02583501470000, which otherwise known as 5446 Glory Lane West. This is regarding District 1537, the Wilds 21st edition, phases 1, 2, and 3. The next thing is to say, oh, there we go. How about this? Oh, that's too loud. Want me to start again? Everybody hear that?
I heard you.
My voice carries pretty good. Sorry about that. The second thing that it said, the fourth thing is it said, what are you protesting? I'm not here to protest anything. I'm here to offer a conditional acceptance. Is Emily here tonight, Hagermeister? Oh, hi, Emily. I didn't recognize you, sorry. Thanks for our previous discussion where you said, hey, as long as I stayed on topic, I would be free to speak without interruption. I promise it won't be long. It could be long, but I'm going to make sure that it's as quick and poignant as possible. Again, my name is Marlon Russell Lean. I'm a pre-March 9th, 1933 private citizen of the United States, and I'm here again to convey a conditional acceptance for 5446 Lori Lane West. I'm making this restricted special appearance as a friend to convey the acceptance for, again, 5446 Lori Lane, because the equitable title for the parcel in question has an active res ID within the private business trust of Marlon Russell Lean, hereafter known as the Private Business Trust, to which I am, but not limited to, the agent of record, the beneficiary, the grantor settler, the grantee, and the owner. I'm going to place this 31-page signed affidavit on and into the record because it contains confidential information that could be harmful to the United States, the District of Columbia, the territories, the state of North Dakota, and myself. I'm not going to deliver it tonight. I was hoping to put it in the hands of either one of the city council officers and/or Mr. Dardis, or the city council, or the city council, sorry. So with that said, I will make sure that this gets in the hands of Mr. Dardis as of tomorrow. So again, I'm placing both the restricted, unrestricted, and restricted so that the others can see as well. There's actually 8 sections in there, but most importantly, I'm here tonight not to challenge the proposed assessment amounts, not to challenge the local or regional benefits, not to challenge the project itself, not to challenge the city of West Fargo's ability to self-govern itself or its inhabitants, but I'm rather speaking tonight in the highest form of equity and honor that I can, in good faith, to officially seek clarification from the city of West Fargo for these 10 questions. That's it. Number 1, confirmation that the proposed assessment dollar to 5446 Lori Lane West represents a 100% full and fair assessed value. Number 2, confirmation of your exact methodology that you used to satisfactorily justify that the amount that's being proposed is true. 3, confirmation that the proposed dollar amount does not include any additional burden from any additional parcels in or related to this project, so thus artificially increasing the price. Yeah, I wish that you had this page in front of you so you could reference it. In Table 1, actually, if you want to, you could go to, if you want to search or go to your official documentation, you will see that in Table 1, it has 84% being paid by the special assessments, 16% from other funds, so the total cost is 100%, zero from the city. Just looking for in Table 1, although it's also presumed that the city will benefit from the local and regional benefits, I'd like confirmation and exact methodology to justify why the city of Fargo is responsible for $0.0 and 0.0% of this overall project. We'd also like to understand where the other funds are coming from. In Table 2, regarding the 6 multi-tenant parcels, very similar questions. Just confirm that it's a fair and equitable 100% full assessed value, how you got there, and equally, confirmation that the amount shown for each of the multi-tenant parcels has not been subsidized by any other parcels in this project. Regarding the assessment for these 6 multi-tenant parcels, I'm looking for the exact, specifically, who has the responsibility to pay this dollar amount? Is it, what percentages of the registered owner? The City of West Fargo, Westport Investments LLC, the developer, the builders, or others? I'm almost done. In Table 3, I'd like to understand why 12 parcels should be responsible for $0.0 and 0.0% of this project. And if they are indeed exempt from this project, confirmation that the 12 parcels will be exempt from any future local and regional benefits and/or future assessments, and that they will not be responsible for any future registered developments, parcel owners, Westport Investments, or anything else in the wilds. In closing, if Bernie was here, I would tell him thank you so much for his time to serve. I'd like to thank him and the leadership for all of the full and complete answers on their own signed affidavit, sending it to me at the address shown no later than September 5th, so it can allow me as the representative or the agent of record for the private business trust to decide if we're going to possibly accept and/or non-consent reject. I wanted to thank them for intently listening and for future acceptance for all of the addendums A, B, C, D, E, and F. And I wanted to make sure that it's on the record to thank both Bernie Dardis and the Ens Legis artificial person, the mayor of the city of St. Cloud, their rebuttal, if anything, to any and all parts of this affidavit on their own signed affidavit under penalty of perjury by 8/28/25, at which time everything in here becomes fact and law. With that, I just had more to share, but at this point, I just want to do a final close in the highest form of equity that I possibly can. I wish to extend in the highest place of honor my gratitude and a very special thank you to all the collective leadership, the efforts to operate this beautiful city. That includes the officers, the commissioners, the city attorneys, the inhabitants that are here, and most importantly, the city police. Your efforts are appreciated more than you know. I wish I could leave this with you, but because of chain of custody, I don't feel comfortable. But we'll make sure that Mr. Dardis, Mr. Jorgensen, and the rest have the exact copy. You guys have any questions that I may answer for you regarding this? If not, I yield back my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, it's my first time.
All right. Any other objections for 1337? Okay. All right.
Objections, I will move that we approve District 1337 as presented.
All right. We have a motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Moving on to Improvement District 1339.
That's the stockyards first.
Yep. So the improvement is for new water supply, sewage, and incidentals at the Stockyards First Edition. Any comments about District 1339? All right.
Since none, I'll make a motion to approve District 1339.
All right, we have a motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, moving on to Improvement District 2270, the traffic signal at 9th Street West and 32nd Avenue West.
Good evening. My name's Jennifer Erickson. I live at 1112 Legion Lane West in West Fargo and have been there for about 6.5 years. And my question is probably a lot more elementary. What I was wondering is, do you anticipate that there could be new developments in West Fargo, newly developed parcels of land in West Fargo that would be assessed for this light? That aren't developed now, but that may be down the road developed in West Fargo? Would anybody else be assessed for the creation of this light?
I can maybe speak to that, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Yes, thank you for the question. Jerry Wallace, city engineer. Essentially, the properties in the district that are being assessed, if they subdivide in the future and develop further, there wouldn't be any additional assessments. This would be strictly, it would be the same property, and we wouldn't be wanting to assess them twice for the same project because that's against century code.
Right. But there wouldn't be any additional that isn't currently developed, any plots of land out there that West Fargo might decide to build residentially on?
There always could be, empty tracts of land that potentially developers or whoever could look at, petitioning the city and following the legal process to perform some type of development activity. It's always going to be a possibility within the city.
Because of course, then I'd be wondering, if there's additional people put into the pie, would that reduce my annual fee that I'll be assessed for the next 25 years?
Once these are certified, that's essentially the assessments are finalized, and let me try to phrase this correctly, but if there's vacant tracts of land within the current district, they're being generally assessed for the project right now, and that would be the final say in whether or not they would receive an assessment. If there were those vacant tracts of land, they could develop in the future, but they have already paid essentially that assessment value.
So the current number of households being assessed is, in your opinion, finite?
The current number of households being assessed is based off of the current breakdown of the, call it the residential properties, the vacant tracts of land, commercial properties, other things of that nature. They are assessed in a slightly different methodology. Typically, a single-family household receives one equivalent unit. A potential vacant tract of land or commercial property would generally receive one equivalent unit per 10,000 square feet, anticipating that someday they might subdivide and become a future single-family house or, something of that nature. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions about Improvement District 2270?
I'll make a motion then to approve District 2270 as listed.
All right, we have a motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Moving on, Improvement District 2271 that involve concrete paving, street lighting, storm sewer, and incidentals at 7th Avenue Northwest and 5th Street Court Northwest.
I'm Bill Burke, and I represent North Central Dakota Investments, 651 5th Street Court Northwest. And we own 3 or 4 parcels on this special assessment. And I have a question about one of them because of the ones we own. We've got specials of 142 and 22. The one that's 22 is an acre. The next parcel I own is like 2 acres, and it's like 59,000. And it has no access to the street. We were supposed to get a curb cut there, and we didn't get it when the street was put in, so that is landlocked, just like one of my other pieces.
If I remember right, we had discussed that, that lot, where there is no access, because that street, if we could.
That lot's on the corner,
Yep,
and they were supposed to put a curb cut between me and then the next 5 acres that's owned by 3 card partners. And that was actually moved further to the west, so that piece on the corner doesn't have access to the street, although it sits on the street.
yep. You're talking about the lot that has an assessment of $22,089, correct?
Yeah, the one in the back, there's 22,089. And then I have another one that's 142,222, with no problem with either of them. It's just the other one there that's like 59,000. The next one over by that's owned by 3 card partners, 64,000, and that's almost 5 acres. So, I mean, if I got like only a couple acres, there's something wrong there.
Could we talk through the methodology on those, please?
Sure. Thank you for the question. I guess as far as the detailed breakdown for this particular lot, I'd ask if you could maybe just repeat your question.
Well, I have like 3 lots there.
Sure.
And the one I have in question is the one that's special, is 150, or 59,868. Okay, that's approximately 2 acres. The next one over, that's a little over an acre, is 22,000. And then the big parcel is 142,222. So, and then the one that's not owned by me, this 64,000 is like 5 acres. So I've got 2 acres there that seems like it's not getting a fair shake.
So generally speaking here, most of them were assessed on a square foot basis. I can certainly look into, the detailed methodology and.
Right, because I mean, square footage between like 1 acre and 2 acres and 5 acres, there should be something in between there, I think.
Sure, no, and like I said, I can, certainly look into and get the detailed methodology for you.
That's
and
all I
then,
need.
We can definitely, continue the conversation then.
Yep.
If that is acceptable.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. Any other comments about Improvement District 2271?
I will make a motion to approve District 2271.
All right, we have a motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. All right, that is it for our agenda tonight.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Yes.
I apologize. I do have a bit of an oddity that was part of the agenda tonight.
Okay.
And with District 1337, just as pursuant with our agreement, we have a water service cooperation agreement with Casserole Water. And as part of that agreement, we're supposed to utilize our commission to essentially create a recommended assessment for their governing body. And if you could humor me for just a few minutes, I'd like to just go through that packet real quick and request action, if that's acceptable. Okay. Thank you, Madam Secretary. So this will look very familiar to the previous meeting's presentation. The one thing that we didn't do while we were presenting that, which hindsight being what it is, we'll rectify that in the future, but we didn't discuss the breakdown of Casserole Water's infrastructure improvements. And so basically, this is just representing the similar information. Again, Westport Investments submitted a petition to the city for the Wilds 21st development. The city entered into a public improvement project to create the subdivision. Tonight, I'm before you to basically just request you review and approve the recommended assessment list and the methodology for Casserole Water Users District. Before you tonight, in the packet here is the special assessment list, and that's just the recommended. That is not a final list. Sample letter to property owners, the assessment allocation map, and the preliminary assessment list, essentially for Casserole Water's portion of the infrastructure improvements. Again, the staff recommendation would be to review and approve the recommended assessment list and methodology. And it's important to note that, as this infrastructure is their infrastructure, this determination of costs will be handled and finalized by Casserole Water Users District and its governing body from this point on. But in your packet, like I said, here's the project. I'm sure everybody's very familiar with the Wilds 21st. Generally speaking, this was this particular item covers, the installation of the water mains, hydrants, gate valves, associated, water infrastructure. We have a heat map here essentially showing the cost breakdown that will potentially be proposed to the district. As you can see, this is entirely focused in the Wilds 21st because there is no regional benefit. This was all local benefit. The methodology that we went through for this was based off of the front footage for each parcel. And I guess with that, I will stand for any questions you might have.
So again, this area is in their rural water service district. So the city puts in the infrastructure, but they certify and collect their own specials?
Correct.
Okay, so the specials that we certify do not include the water portion. That'll be assessed by rural water.
Correct.
Okay. So all they were looking for is just a methodology of how we would do it if we were going to assess.
Absolutely. Basically, a starting point for them as to how we would do it.
Okay.
And again, that action we're looking for tonight is reviewing and approving the recommended assessment list and methodology for that district, the Casserole Water Users District.
Well, then I'll make a motion to that effect, that we'll approve that.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we have a motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye?
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you for your time.
believe that's everything in the agenda.
I wonder if they actually, want to speak about something?
Yeah. Sure. We have a pretty good crowd. Is there anything else anybody would like to share?
I have a question. So that when you were just explaining about the Casserole water, and you're showing each parcel is going to be assessed an additional,
That's the recommendation.
so on top of what you're sending us already, we're getting an additional.
Yeah, yes. That'll be up to the Casserole Water Users District to finalize and go through that process. But there is essentially the water mains that supply everybody's house in the neighborhood are not part of the city of West Fargo district. And so that infrastructure, they'll likely have to bond and pay for that. And they'll likely be setting up, I don't want to speak on their behalf, but they'll likely be setting up the assessment district to cover costs for that water infrastructure installation.
So I just moved to North Dakota from Minnesota, so your rules are a little different. So my question is, when you have these developers develop all these different pieces, and you get this little lot, and you're getting $60,000 worth of specials, where does all that money go to? Because on my block, there's 26 houses, and I added up the specials. It's almost 1.1 million for 26 houses. And I get there's costs. I get that. I mean, I'm not 25. I understand this.
Sure.
It just seems like it's just more and more and more. And that is why people can't afford homes anymore. And what I'm trying to understand is, where is all this money going to? Is the developer, does he have to cover, or that company have to cover any of this? Because they're selling each of these lots to these homeowners for 50 to 85,000. And then you have another 60,000 on top of that for specials. So it's just crazy to me. I'm just trying to, I mean, how do homeowners absorb this? And I mean, thankfully it's spread out over the 25 years. I completely understand that. And yeah, and I've owned many homes. I have, and thankfully my house is paid for. But I'm seeing all these specials and I'm going, holy shit. I'm like, okay, then tomorrow there's another one, and then there's another one. And like this lady says, now there's a street light, and
No,
I mean, I know it's
understand.
not your fault. I'm
I-
just trying
I
to
understand. I
get my head wrapped around it.
I'm not from around here either, so it took me, I guess a while to understand. And essentially, what happens, these processes, when a property owner, has a large, property that they're looking to develop, essentially the law is that they can, go through a legal process where they enter into, agreements with, the city or, whatever the entity is, and, they can have that become a public project, where they're essentially installing all the infrastructure, the streets, the streetlights, the water main, sewer main, all that stuff. Once that work is taking place and completed, the city typically bonds, to reimburse that fund, so to speak. And then now we have the bond that's hanging out that basically we need to figure out a funding mechanism to pay for the bond. And so this special assessment process here that we're all discussing is essentially to pay off that bond, to pay for all that money where it went was to pay for the construction project. The Wilds, for example, was a $13 million project. That's where the money is going and where it went.
Okay, so it's a $13 million project, but my street with 26 houses is 1.1 million. There's lots of streets down there.
And I apologize, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I believe the Wilds 21st was hundreds of streets, there are hundreds of parcels. And it is
spread judiciously, over each parcel, and that's essentially, where we find ourselves today with those amounts.
So when you collect all of this special assessment money, is it just to cover the cost? Or are you banking this money? Or do you make money? Or
Honestly, I don't have
the breakdown?
an answer that
Yeah.
I'd be willing to speak on that. I know generally when we bond, we have an interest rate associated with the cost of bonding. So that has to be accounted for and incorporated into the bond and the reimbursement process. And then I believe there's usually an administrative fee to cover the bond service. Is where that comes
Okay.
from. And I don't know, but I don't think it's a big moneymaker for the city. I think it's just to cover the administrative fees and the time that staff spend, going through those processes.
So then, our special assessments are spread out over the 25 years, and we're being charged 6.25% interest. Who's getting the interest?
The interest is incorporated into mostly the cost for the bond. When we bond, we had a call it 4% interest rate. I'm just throwing that number out there. I don't have the numbers in front of
Yep.
me. So generally speaking, we incorporate that 4% rate that we need to pay back, and
Yep.
it will be that usually 1%
Service.
that goes to cover the bond with that service. Yeah.
So does the city chip in for any of this infrastructure, or is it all on the homeowner?
It depends on the project. In areas of greenfield development like this, traditionally it is 100% on the property owners. Generally it starts with a developer, and then typically it lands with the owner at the time that the assessments are certified.
So how do you decide what each lot is assessed? Because I'm a numbers person, and
Sure.
I have looked at all this, and I'm like, okay, over here, this one's 39,000, and 2 spaces down, you're at 36,000, and is it based on the size of your lot?
That is part of it. So to briefly touch on the entire district, there's areas outside of the lots 21st that receive pretty small assessments. That I don't know if everybody's seen that. And generally that's because there were things like multi-use paths that were put in as part of the regional trail system.
Okay.
Some storm sewer, like pond expansions, but, that are for the good of the whole storm sewer system.
Right.
And things of that. nature.
Retention pond?
Yep, some permitting issues that, project wouldn't have happened at all, had there not been, small costs associated with permitting. But that's typically how those assessments are calculated. The areas that are in the local, the high dollar special assessments there, generally speaking, for this neighborhood in particular, your sanitary sewer and water main are about a front foot of the lot. So
Okay.
the lot, and the lot's buried in there, and, occasionally, there can be nuances with, if you're on a cul-de-sac and you have an odd-shaped lot.
Yeah, I'm kind of on a bend, so my front is little, and then it goes, like that, like
And
mine.
I think traditionally that has been, it's not the front, that's, necessarily connected to the street. Typically there's an offset, I think, that's applied, that's to, I guess, accommodate, and make it more evenly rounded for,
To make more money.
everybody's frontage.
So you might have a littler front, but you're paying as much as the guy with the bigger front? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the storm sewer system is done on square foot basis, so.
Like square foot of your house or square foot of your
the
lot? Okay.
So if you have a larger lot, pie-shaped lot with a big backyard or something like that, that's things that can cause that number to be higher. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
That's most
no.
of the components.
I mean, you're answering my questions, that's perfect.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not here to argue it, I'm just trying to understand it, because every year there's a new one, So at one point in time, do you truly have your home paid for? Never?
It's a challenging question to answer because it just, the nature of the beast is, the need for infrastructure and maintaining that infrastructure in the city. is here, and the amount of money that the city has, to throw at that through things like capital improvement sales tax, other things, grant funding, a lot of those things just aren't available.
So do you
And
take
that's here.
any of the money from what we pay for property tax to be put towards that? So you just get taxed and special. I mean, it's just, okay, that's all I'll say. I mean,
I don't think there's a portion of the property tax, and I'm not the finance director,
Yeah.
so I'm probably not the best resource to be answering that question. But I think a lot of your property tax that goes to the city of West Fargo is strictly devoted to, operations and maintenance of, very basic facilities. Things that sound about right.
Yeah, it's a general fund expenditure, those type of things, to just run the city. And then the other thing that I would add is that, as far as like, does the city make money off of this? One thing that West Fargo does that not all cities do is that there's times where we will negotiate a bond, like if interest rates drop, we'll go out and we'll change the bond. Well, the assessments were certified at, say, 6%. You're still paying 6%, even though we refinanced it for 3%, say. But one thing that West Fargo does is once the bond has been retired, they stop the assessment. So it's a 25-year assessment, but if we pay the assessment off early, say we pay it off in year 21, we stop the assessments in year 21. It doesn't go all the way to 25 years. Yeah, so other cities, they just keep it going through the whole 25 years.
so if you pay that bond off in 21 years, and I'm stretching mine out over 25, there's going to be 4 years I'm not going to have to pay for it.
It will just stop. Yep, we'll notify the county that we've taken care of the debt on it. So as soon as the debt is paid for the construction of the project, our policy right now is that we stop the assessments. We don't continue to assess even though we're certified at that, because again, if we have if interest rates drop to 2% and we're able to refinance the bond, we pass that savings on to the people being special assessed.
Okay.
I know neighboring cities don't do that. West Fargo does, so I guess that's one thing.
Okay.
The city of West Fargo also has a great website, and so you can go check out the property taxes and see the breakdown of where all those dollars go. I know a significant portion will go towards school district as well.
Okay.
I do have another question for Mr. Wallace.
Is this being recorded for?
Yeah, anybody else, make sure you step up to the microphone.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's-
Sorry, I didn't
Yep.
want to interject into all that, but yes.
Yeah, so let's just have all our
Okay.
conversations at the microphone, so that way when people watch it, they just see people.
I'm still Jennifer Erickson at 1112 Legion Lane West in West Fargo. So I'm so glad you asked all these questions. Part of my being here tonight is that I don't understand special assessments, and so I thought if some of this can be a tutorial for me, so be it. So thank you so much for all your questions. It's really helped me. One of the other questions I had, again regarding the light at 9th and 32nd, is the total project cost was $862,000 and a little bit extra. The special assessments funded $670,000, or about 78% of that. You also list city funds at $172,000. Can you please define for me what city funds are?
That would have been taken from our capital improvement sales tax funds.
So does that mean that I'm paying the special assessment and then I'm also taxed through the city, that you're contributing funds to this project through, am I getting a double whammy is what I'm asking?
Not necessarily when it comes to, say, property taxes or special assessments, but the city years back implemented a sales tax to help try to fund and create a source of revenue, for some of these improvements, and that's the capital improvement sales tax that I referenced. And like you said, $170,000, I believe, was taken from that fund and put towards the cost of the project at the direction of the city commission.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Matter, you going? Kind of got that one kind of scrolled away for you. My name's Jeremy Lundy. I'm at 1143 55th Avenue West. And I have some related questions, not so much a protest, so I wasn't sure if this is the right format. But, so first of all, I got a letter that's handwritten. It's got Westport on it originally. It's got my name crossed out on it. It's got a different address, and that's adjusted, but the parcel number is still to the original. And when I try to find that parcel, I can't find it. So I'm trying to figure out what the recourse is if, I'm not sure if this paperwork's even correct. I mean, I see it on the map, so I'm assuming I'm going to get hit, but I'm trying to see if, is this something that, what's the process to get that properly corrected or anything like that?
Yeah, if we could get your contact information.
Okay.
We can certainly chat afterwards here and, make sure everything's rectified and apologize for a lot of the letters. Just a staff member, was trying to do the right thing and just, I think, used the wrong list. And so you're not the first, unfortunately, but again, apologies for that, and we'll make things right here.
Okay, and then with it, the letter is dated June 25th, but it's postmarked July 25th. So I came here because I just got it, and I didn't know quite to call in, so I showed up, but I don't know where it floated for a month, but to ask any questions ahead of this, so I showed up, and based on the letter itself, so I just wanted to.
It's a good question. Like I said, maybe we can just chat afterwards.
Okay.
And,
A lot of the letters were returned for the wrong
Okay.
recipient. So when we had a letter that got returned, Kayla looked through it, researched it, found out who it should have went to and resent it. So to make sure that people got it, but that's why if you're receiving that one that's dated postmarked July 25th, it's because it was returned to us originally.
It's fair. It's just more the notice. I basically had a day. So I'm like, well, I'll come here and ask these questions. So if this is the wrong format, I apologize. It's the first time I've ever been in one of these. The address and the parcel number still have the wrong address. And when I tried to do a parcel search for that, I couldn't find it. So I don't know if there's, so we can figure that out. And then the next thing is probably related to it. Again, not protest to the appropriations, but who's responsible then for making sure that the installation of the gutters and the sewer is done properly? I'll cut to the chase. Mine doesn't drain properly. So the front of my house, I get a lake. The back of my house, I have a swamp. And you can literally, I could show you right now, even on a hot day like this, the water doesn't flow. It was the installation of the actual curbs itself. It didn't sink. So who's ultimately responsible for putting it in? Is it Westport, or is that kind of back to the basis I'm getting paid for something, but I'm like, okay, but I have problems with it. So who would have been responsible for installing it in the first place and certifying it?
I mean, it's a city project, so the city, generally speaking, is the contract holder on a lot of those items. Typically, we contract with, consultant engineers, that oversee the project for us. We do have a small engineering staff that tries to assist with that as well. But I guess generally speaking, there's probably, shared interest between the entities there that would be responsible for that.
Okay. So I'm being asked to pay for it, and every time I drive into my driveway, it's literally. So I'm trying to figure out, is there recourse to get that corrected? Is that something I would then get charged again as an assessment if they had to fix it? Or is that something that, again, I don't deal with special assessments unlike other folks. I don't know quite how they work, but you pay for something to be installed, it's done wrong, or is it clearly an issue with it? To me, it's a recourse to go back to put it in, or is that not something that happens with special assessments?
Traditionally, I guess that is not something that is addressed at this point in time. When these new neighborhoods are installed, due to the soils in our area, we anticipate that there is going to be differential settlement, trench settlement that just occurs naturally with that process. What will usually happen and what we try to schedule and what we're currently trying to develop here is pavement management programs where we'll look at going into neighborhoods typically before the, call it 15-year mark, where we know all this settlement has occurred now. We'll look at, essentially doing a mill and overlay, replace some curb and gutter work like this that, the water should be flowing better, et cetera, et cetera. And then it's usually addressed at that time. A lot of our policies are, I guess, in a state of flux as far as who is paying for those and how much they pay. I know the city commission currently has been pretty adamant about trying to lower special assessments. think they understand that, just special assessments are kind of how we pay for a lot of infrastructure, and they're here to stay, unfortunately. But that being said, this would likely be addressed on a future mill and overlay project. And it's difficult to say. I think a lot of these, if we've identified that there's a problem that's affecting the street, typically our current policy is during that project, we'll fix it so that the street drains properly, and it is typically just considered a project cost. And the property owner directly fronting does not have to bear that immediate burden for that. The thing we run into is where if people disagree with our methodologies as to how bad something needs to be before it's fixed, typically we can look at addressing those items at that point, but at that point, if it goes against our methodologies, we'd probably recommend that those costs be special assessed to the benefiting lot. Does that make sense?
It does, and maybe I'm trying to get ahead of a future assessment. So it's been that way for 2 years, and it's eroding the roadway. So does that mean if they come to fix it 2 years from now, I may get another, I think to someone else's point, I might get another special assessment to fix a problem with the first special assessment?
That would only occur if there was a public project.
Okay.
And I don't have my crystal ball in front of me, but I think it sounds like it could potentially be something that we would likely wait for a mill and overlay project to address.
Okay. Okay. So I can follow up after it too, maybe get some.
Sure,
details.
absolutely.
But I again, apologize, I didn't know if there was a place to bring it up or just general questions about how the assessment process works kind of thing, so.
No, good question.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions, comments?
Sensing none, I'll move to adjourn.
All right. We have a motion. I will second. Motion approved.
Okay. That's good. You want to start first this time?
Thank you, city staff, and